You ready? Come here. Shit. Okay. Holy shamoly. Here we are. Okay. This is about as wild as you can get in, and it's about 4 hours, well, 4, 5, 6 hours north of Nairobi, which is this area. And first you get to Nanuki, and then you go another 2 hours to get to this lovely place. And I am staying with some very dear friends, Ken and Marion, and we have just been having a blast. I can't remember the name of this little pup here, but he is my little buddy here, hanging out with me. And yeah, we had an absolutely incredible first couple of days here on the Conservancy. And this is their private property, but it goes far beyond thousands of acres in all directions. And we went by their vehicle, 4x4, a couple times, yesterday and the day before. And we started seeing some incredible elephants that are in groups all throughout the wild here. And one we actually saw was like the largest elephant I've ever seen in my entire life. Had ivory tusks like this, and I guess because it has so much ivory, they tagged the elephant. So if you see in the video, you'll see a collar actually on that elephant. I can't imagine what that experience must be like, to put a collar on a wild elephant. But yeah, so we also traveled to a hippo pool, which is in the middle of a river, and it's sort of a quiet section. And you know, hippos are known for being fairly aggressive, but it was really interesting when we pulled up with the car onto this flat, and then it kind of dipped down into the river. These hippos were incredibly peaceful. There must have been at least 8 or 10 of them. And as we pulled up, all their heads raised up, and they were all looking at us and just checking us out. And we moved nice and slow, and just took pictures and videos right there. Very surreal, serene atmosphere. Not only the hippos, but what I noticed with the elephants, we actually had a sundowner, which is where you go out and watch the sun go down with a beer or something, and you sit in your chair, and we were not far from the elephants, and there was just such a peace and serenity about the whole place. And it obviously, it could have been the atmosphere, but I think there's something more to it. When I'm around the elephants, I feel a much lower vibration. And I was telling Ken and Marion, I'm wondering if that's a frequency that they're putting out that just lowers your entire energy into a nice calm state. So getting back to the hippos, we sat down amongst them and just watched them and the youngsters wrestling in the water, and that was a lot of fun. So from the hippos, we carried on. You're gonna come up? Come here. Come on. Come on. Get up here. Come on. Yeah. Come here. Oh my goodness. Yeah. All right. You want to be in the video? Very nice. Yes. So Ken and Marion are actually out. They drove a couple hours to Nanuki to restock on everything that they need. They have to go into town every so often to replenish, because their house is way out in this beautiful area, so not a whole lot of access to quick amenities when needed. As I've stayed here, they also have, I believe it was like 5 or 6 horses. and I worked on those horses with a gentleman named Peter. But getting back to the hippos, after we stayed and had cheese and some crackers and all of that good stuff, that's where we picnicked, was with the hippos. So, so yeah, we picnicked with the hippos and had a sundowner with the elephants. And next on my list is I want to find a lion. Tomorrow will be the first time I'm going to embark out on my own to find, whatever wildlife happens to come along while I'm out camping on my own. Of course, perhaps in other videos you saw I had quite a catastrophe with the original truck that I rented that had a tent on the top, and I had all these intentions of camping out in the wilderness African wilds here, and that did not end up happening because we had engine trouble. In the town of Nanuki is where I rented another truck, and its engine is fine and it's got a tent. So that's what I'm taking out into the wilderness tomorrow, and I'm going to be on my own, and it's going to be super peaceful and quiet, and I'm just going to meditate and think and experience whatever happens to come along. That'll probably be my next video. I'll be talking from my campsite. Getting back to the hippos, yes. So after the hippos, we decided we'd go for a hike, and Marion and Ken said we're gonna do a little hike into this one area, and when they said hike, they meant it. I was thinking maybe it was gonna be a 10-minute thing or whatever, but we went for probably a good hour and a half, I don't know, 2 hours maybe, going into this river basin where there used to be some old turbines that existed on the property to help push water up by where the houses are. It didn't work out apparently, so they're now just a ornament, antique ornament. But it was really cool to go in there and see where all the pipes were and all. But the river was super cool, flowing, and as you step down in to this basin where the river flows into like a waterfall area, you're in like this paradise. It's like a quiet, and then as you look up, there's this huge rock. I think they called it Monkey Rock because the baboons or the monkeys, whatever, either or, they find their way up to the top, this sheer cliffs, to get up to the very top to get away from the leopard. So that whole little section is just like this little oasis of paradise that was absolutely gorgeous. And look forward to the next video, which will be from my campsite, more than likely. And yeah, so it's kind of interesting. You never know what you're going to hear out here. Like I have just behind the camera here is this really neat little grass thatched roof little hut or cottage that I'm staying in, but you can hear the elephants right below the electric fence here, and you hear them trumpeting in the morning, and we heard a leopard sounding off as well, just random. Even the birds are super interesting. One whistles like a human, and I thought it was a human, and liked whistling all night long. And then there's another bird that talks like a human but in an alien voice. So just think of like an alien communicating really loudly, and it was really bizarre because it just sounds like it's trying to communicate with you. Maybe it is.